Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. So, at the moment, I am sitting creating a few different videos about Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, but I thought just to fill the needs and put a video on the channel, I would do something a little bit different today. So, I've seen quite a lot of streamers do this, and I wanted to give my opinion on this type of list, but I'm going to be today taking a look at the early BFA and Legion raid bosses in a tier maker, or a tier list maker. So here we have all of the bosses from Legion and the early ones from BFA. I think early going up to, it looks like Battle of Azeroth. Yes, Battle of Azeroth. So we haven't got Ashara, the Eternal Palace in here, but I thought it might be fun to give it a go. So we're going to start from the beginning, alphabetical order, and we're going to have a little bit of a move around. I can't remember how many there are here. Now, I have done all of these bosses, if I remember correctly. Yes, I have done all of these bosses, so I have an opinion on all of them. So without any further ado, let's get started. So, Agramar. So, if you guys played Legion, Agramar is the Titan, which Sargeras kind of corrupted. That fight, where would I put him? Well, he hasn't given me Tayshalak yet, so I think he's probably going to be a B. If tanked correctly, no one went flying. It's very, very easy on Mythic now. So I think he's going to be B. He was a good fight. He wasn't too hard. Argus the Unmaker. At current context, so obviously now if you play him, you just kind of try and burn him down before he goes into the phase that wipes you. But as a wipe mechanic, it wasn't too bad. Argus the Unmaker. I'm trying to think. There was a lot the mechanics weren't hard. And I like the fact that it changed it where everybody thought, the first time you played through, if you hadn't read about it, I think people thought you were going to die. Do I think he's as good as Agramar? No, I'm probably going to have to put him into a C tier there. And he hasn't given me the Scythe either, so that doesn't give him bonus points. Star Ogre, right. Now, this boss, if I remember correctly, was in my favourite raid of all time, which is the Nighthold. Was he my favourite boss in that fight? In that raid? Probably not. We'll get onto that one in a minute. He had the phases where it kind of showed you the Fell, the Frozen, and the old god. He was telling you the future. He was a prophet as such. That fight was very annoying because of the Fell you could drop. Now to solo it, it's not that hard, but it can be annoying. Was he fun? Was he one that stood out to me? Not really. He was one which was obviously annoying, but was he really that memorable? I don't think so. I'm probably going to have to put him in D. Like, he's not a boss that I would like to go and fight. Okay, so Stormwall Blockade from the Battle of Azeroth. Now, this is probably one of my least favourite because we found it so hard. I think we found this one harder than Jaina when it came to the Battle of Azeroth. Stormwall Blockade, I think I've got to do it from mechanics. So I like the fact that you split up into two teams and you go onto the boat, and then you come back and kill it. Now, with a good group of players, hello that one, with a group of players, it wasn't that hard to do if people knew where they were standing. Did I like the mechanics? I think I loved the mechanics. I think it was a great fight. So again, I'm probably actually going to put that up in B. I think that was a really good fight. High Botanist. Now, I already know where I'm going to put this one because this one was a pain in the backside. This was the one who was the kind of gardener for the Nighthold. And there was a mechanic where, I can't remember the name of it, but kind of lights came in, and if you stood in one of them, you'd die. Again, was it a boss that was memorable? I don't know. It was probably one of the hardest in the Nighthold, but this isn't about what's the hardest for me. It's ones that I like the most. So again, I'm going to have to put this probably in C. I think it's better than Star Ogre. So the Restless Cabal. Now, this isn't one that I played a lot of because it was the mini what I'd call, not the mini dungeon, the mini raid, like Trial of Valor and Legion for Battle for Azeroth and the Crucible of Storms. This one, if I remember correctly, was... I don't know. I personally didn't like this one. I didn't like that raid in general, really. I think it was short, but I think they brought it out just to kind of fill our needs for a raid. So this is probably actually going to be an F. I didn't really like that one at all. I think the other boss may be an F as well. Cenarius. Now, dear old dear Cenarius of the Nightmare. I really liked the Nightmare as a raid. It was the first raid that I kind of got back into when I started playing Legion again. It was the first raid in Legion. I like the Cenarios fight, not just because of the mechanics. I was getting sick of the red at that point, but even just the speech. If you go back now, you can solo it if you've got a 120 character on normal, or you can even solo on mythic if you really want. When he talks to Malfurion, and he talks about his father who was killed by Archimonde. Oh man, it makes you... You know what? Cenarius, just because of that amazing kind of speech in the text, I'm going to put you up in A. I really enjoyed that fight from someone who, when you're not concentrating on mechanics, it was a beautiful fight. So next we have Champion of Light. Champion of Light is the first boss in the Battle of Desirelor, and it's, if I go off the Horde version with the when we fight the dwarves, I really like the loot off that. I got my my ward, which is my trinket, and it was a really good trinket, and I've still got it because even though it's not any good for me, I just love what that trinket does. The fight itself. Now, you had to have 2 tanks because you had to tank the boss and then her ads as such. Now, I remember completing this on Mythic, and it was obviously the first Mythic of the patch and the first Mythic that I did with my new guild, or my guild at the time, and it was, I think that was the first raid that I did on my YouTube, on this YouTube, with all the bosses. I enjoyed it. I think it was pretty good. Do I think it was as good as Cenarius? No. I think I'm going to have to put that on C, because even though I liked it, it wasn't amazing. It was the first boss of a fight, so we're going to put that in C there. Chronomatic Anomaly. Now, this was the boss I got my first legendary off. It was Velen's Future Sight, if I remember correctly. I like this fight because I like the time things, how 1 minute you're really sped up and you're doing kind of, you don't need a bloodlust. Was it a pretty simple boss? Yeah, I think I didn't play it on Mythic at current content. I remember doing it on Heroic when I got my ahead of the curve, but I never got Cutting Edge from the Nighthold. I think that was a pretty good boss. Again, I'm probably going to have to put that in C. Now, the Conclave of the Chosen. Now, this was probably the hardest boss in the Battle of Desirelor, because you had to kill them. You could kill them in any order you wanted, but there was an order that you had to kill them in. Whether that was not Gahoon, Quagwa, Kimball, Paku, and who was the last one? Akunda. Now we wiped, I remember on Mythic, God knows how many times on Conclave of the Chosen. As a fight, did I enjoy it? I kind of did. I think even if you wipe on a boss, I think you can still enjoy it. So Conclave of the Chosen, I'm going to put that as a B. I really enjoyed that one. The Coven of Shavaya. This was another one which I think you needed at least 2 tanks to split the bosses up. This was after Veramathris, if I remember correctly. Did I enjoy this fight? This was in the Antorus the Burning Throne. I liked the lore behind it when Magni was talking to you. Now, I can't remember if you could actually kill them before him. I'm not sure. Again, it's not one that I would go, oh yeah, that raid. The only thing I remember about this boss is I remember running it because I wanted the shoulders. That was the only thing. So I'm actually probably going to put this in probably in D here. So the Desolate Host. Now, this is our first one from the Tomb of Sargeras. Now, obviously, my favourite raid is the Nighthold. But I think my second favourite raid is the Tomb of Sargeras, very, very closely to Nighthold. Desolate Host was like another boss from Burning Crusade. Did I enjoy it? I did like the fact that you had to split up into, again, 2 teams, and one of you were in the spirit realm, one of you were in the kind of reality realm. Again, it's not one that I can, like... I think when you're judging bosses, they have to jump out at you. So I'm probably going to put that in one in D, in my opinion. Dragons of the Nightmare, again, in the Nightmare. This was where you were fighting 2 dragons, not to be confused with the first dragon of the Nightmare, of the Emerald Nightmare raid. So, Dragons of the Nightmare. There were 2 dragons. Now, if I remember correctly, they both shared the same health pool. So you only had to really damage one and then switch to the other one. All I remember about this boss, really, is the thing that jumps out at me is when I did my monk for my mist weaving artifact weapon, my hidden appearance, I needed to do this. It wasn't one that jumped out at me, so I'm probably going to put that in D again. God, I think... Oh god, I feel like I'm not giving some of these bosses the stuff they deserve. Grand Magistrix, Elisand. Now this fight was an interesting one. I completed this on Heroic, again, didn't do Mythic at current content. Obviously I've done it since then. Did I enjoy it? I think I did enjoy it. It was interesting in the fact that you had to kill her 3 times, and she did that time shit. It reminds me of like a TV program. You know, when you kill someone, they're like, "Oh no! Before you kill me, let me go back in time and change it again." That's kind of like what she did. And the thing I liked about that, from a lore point of view, was at the end of that fight, she kind of went, "You know what? I was wrong. I was wrong about the Legion. Go and stop Gul'dan." And it's like, yeah, well, thanks for that. We could have stopped him earlier, but because you stood in the way. I'm probably going to put that in a C. I did like that fight, to be honest. Can't remember any loot that I got off it personally, but I did enjoy that fight. Okay, so this is the one which I'm a little bit wary about. Aenir the Lifebringer. Now, Aenir on Mythic a while ago was very hard. Now it's easy. It's nerfed. You can do it in one team. I like the idea of this boss on Mythic because it wasn't just fighting a boss. You had to do mechanics. And I really enjoyed it, where you had to go up into the parallax and collect the different crystals, the orbs, the debuffs, whatever. I really enjoyed it. So I think from a boss, the way that they did this fight, unlike some others that we'll get to in a little while, I think this was the best different fight there was. So I'm actually going to put this, even though it was hard, and even though I hated it for a while, once I actually completed it, I'm going to put this in A tier, because it was so different compared to some of the bosses that we'd done. The Fallen Avatar. Now, this is the boss of the Old Husk that Sargeras used, which is the second to last boss in the Tomb of Sargeras. In the Tomb of Sargeras, Kil'jaeden empowers the Fallen Avatar to make him fight you, and he thinks that you're going to fight him. I did enjoy this boss. I think the first phase, when you're up at the beginning, is really fun. The thing that annoyed me about this boss was the second phase, when he smashed the ground and you went down, and the amount of people that just stood in shit was unbelievable. So I'm probably going to put this boss... I did really enjoy this boss. I think the model was amazing. I like the idea of it. I like the fact, the animation when he starts and he's chained up and he breaks himself free after being empowered. I'm probably going to put this in a B. I did like that fight, actually. Fellhounds of Sargeras. Now, this is the boss that everybody does once a week if they haven't got the Fellhounds, which I got a couple of weeks ago, actually, on my priest. I didn't even realise I got it until I kind of looked, so I was looking to get something else. This is, again, a 2-boss fight where you DPS 1 down. On Mythic mode, if you DPS 1 before, they kind of reincarnate, like if you do the Atal Dazar. Did I like it? Yes. Yes, I did, but was it that... It was the second boss in the raid, so it's not like it was a massive a massive boss. So I'm probably going to put that in D again. It was okay. Feta Devourer was in Old Deer. Now, this boss, I can remember doing, because this is the one, this is like the three-headed dog, pigeon, bird, lion thing, right? I like the idea of this boss, and I love the lore about around Old Deer. I think it was really, really good, and the idea of it. However, Feta Devourer, it was the one which kind of did that cone of damage and would push you against the wall. But really, when I did it, I don't know if it's fixed now because I haven't gone into Old Deer in a long time. But the way that I did it, if I remember correctly, was we just stood like with our backs against the wall, so when you did the knockback effect, it didn't do anything. So from a boss point of view, I don't think it was actually that good. So I'm gonna I don't think it's as bad as an F. I'll put it in a D. I think a D's reasonable. Now the World Breaker, this was the first boss of the Antaurus the Burning Throne. This boss had a couple of phases where you'd fight him, then fight his guns, and fight him again. I think this is going to go in D again. I don't think I liked this boss. For a first boss, it wasn't great. Gahoon. Gahoon is an interesting one because I really like the idea of Gahoon. I don't think it was that well executed. The lore behind Gahoon was interesting, how he was kind of manifest, and if you think about it, how is he supposed to know what's going on? He's got these old god kind of whispers, but he's just he's a mutant, isn't he? The idea of using the light in the Titan facility to destroy him, as well as us killing him, I really like that idea. So I'm actually going to probably put him as a B. Now, a lot of people will be like, no, Gahoon's shit. I personally like Gahoon. I think he's good. Goroth. Goroth was the first boss in the Tomb of Sargeras. And he was okay. I think everybody knows where he's going to go. He's going to go in the D because he was the first boss. You can't really give him a higher one than that. Gron the Jungle Lord. This was the mind-controlled monkey, which the Horde fought first. Then once we killed him, Bornsambi raised him to fight the Alliance, which I think sweet revenge. Sweet revenge. What did I think of Gron the Jungle Lord? Well, this is a hard one. Because I heal, I don't really see the DPS mechanics when you're grabbing the orb and you're using the robots to DPS him down. Again, he's a pretty standard one in my opinion, so I'm going to put him in D again. Guam, again, this was a mini raid, the Trial of Valor, not the Horse Valor. Trial of Valor in Legion. This is Hellia's guard dog, whatever. When we leveled, the thing that I find strange, when we leveled, and this is why he's going to go in D, is because when we leveled, we covered ourselves in seaweed and we got past him, and then now we have to fight him as a boss when we go in as a group. So I don't really like that idea, so I'm going to put him in D there. Gul'dan. Gul'dan. The time I waited to kill Gul'dan was unbelievable. Now, the reason I'm going to put... I was going to say I was going to put him in A, but now I'm thinking B. No, the reason why I'm going to put him in A is because of the mythic difficulty. When you don't know what's about to happen and you kill him and you're like, what? Like, why isn't the fight ended? And Illidan appears. That is the reason. That's the reason why I'm going to put him in A. And killing Gul'dan was just fun anyway. Harjatan. Harjatan was the third boss in the Tomb of Sargeras, if I remember correctly. This was where we kind of saw the Naga and a little bit more and were learning about them. He was a brute. He was a kind of DPS as fast as you can down boss. The mechanics weren't that hard. Don't stand in front of him. Don't stand behind him. Just kind of keep moving, but stand next to him. Again, I would say he's what I call a filler. So the fillers just go in D. Sorry, but that's the way it goes. Portal Keeper. Now, Portal Keeper, if you play her now, she wouldn't be interesting because you literally just DPS her down. However, Portal Keeper at current content, where you actually had to use the portals and go up and split up, I really like that personally. So I'm probably going to put her in C. I really like that. now if you play her, people just DPS her down and then boom, that's it. And then they're like, oh, that's like the easiest boss. She didn't drop very good loot, personally. She dropped a few artifact relics, which back then would have been great, but now it's shit, so people try and miss her out. But no, she was pretty good. Helia, I'm actually going to put... I'm going to put an F. And the reason I'm going to put Helia in F is because I was disappointed. I was really, really disappointed with Helia. They could have done a lot more with her, and I hope they do a lot with her in the future, because we killed her and she went, and I didn't think the fight was that fun anyway. Antorus High Command, I think we all know where this is going to go. This is going to be a D. However, I did like the fact that you jumped into the different pods. I thought that was quite an interesting one. It's so weird to see how I'm ranking them and from a different point of view. Il'gynoth the Corrupted. Il'gynoth. Now, this is one where mechanics really... This was the very first hard boss in Legion. I'm going to put Il'gynoth in S. The fact that we're going to be fighting Il'gynoth again, it may change my mind, but I loved Il'gynoth. It was hard trying to coordinate with your team. Well, the essence of the fight was easy, but the actually going to do it was hard. And getting people to stand in the correct places was hard. But I just loved the lore side of it, the whispers as we were fighting, and things like that. I think it was great. Eamnar, again, is a filler. I did like the... You know what, actually? He's not a filler. I'm going to put him in C because I really like the going backwards and forwards on the bridge. I think they shouldn't have done it. I think it should have just been like 1, 2, 3 rather than 4 times. But yeah, he was a pretty good fight. Demonic Inquisition. Now, this was the second boss, if I remember correctly, in the Tomb of Sargeras. And I actually really liked this fight. The fact that you had to go in and you again split up into 2 teams and you weren't just DPSing the boss, and it was about keeping your sanity, and it was about pain, like physical pain and the mental pain. I really like that fight, so I'm going to put that in B. Jade Fire Masters. Now, this again was the Battle of Dazar'alor. 2 bosses. You had a monk and a mage that you fought. And there's an alliance and a horde version, but I obviously played the horde version a lot more. I really enjoyed this fight. I thought the having to move and DPS down the orbs, I can't remember what they were, but the orbs, and then with the monk where you had to travel at a certain phase through the Ring of Pieces. I really like that fight, so I'm actually going to put that one in B because I enjoyed that one quite a lot. Jaina Proudmoore. Jaina Proudmoore. See, I would say A because she was our last boss fight and she was pretty good, but Jaina Proudmoore, I'm going to put in B because the fact that we didn't actually kill her at the end was a shame, and she's just plot armor and she disappeared. Now, the one thing that I have to say is with the whole of Battle of Dazar'alor, as you can see, most of the Battle of Dazar'alor are in B and higher because it is my favourite raid of this whole expansion. I really enjoyed Jaina, the fact that you didn't just use Bloodlust to DPS her down, and the fact that she actually did what most people would do, and when people Bloodlust, use Ice Block. I like that fact. Kingaroth. This was the engineer in Antorus the Burning Throne. Again, I'm going to have to put him in D. He's just a filler. I like the beam that he did, and I like that you had to go and fight his machines, but he's just a filler. Kil'jaeden. Now, Kil'jaeden was so broken at Mythic, but the fact that we fought with Illidan and we got to Argus at the end, I really like that fight. It was very, very hard. I think Kil'jaeden was the hardest fight, unless you count Aenir, but I mean, as a boss, was the hardest fight in Legion. I'm so tempted to put him in A, but I think he's going to be a B, personally. Croesus. Croesus was... Now, if you can't remember, Croesus actually killed Tyrion Fordring at the start of Legion. So, for that reason... no, not for that reason. I was going to put him in the bottom one, but... I'm actually going to put Croesus in C because I really like the fact that you were on the bridge. And I remember my tank. I've got a tanking friend who died so many times by getting thrown into the water because he's an idiot and didn't move back. So he's going to go in C. Maiden of Vigilance. I'm going to put her in A. I love Maiden Vigilance. I think if people weren't retarded and stood in the wrong colours, which lots of people did, I'm even tempted to put her in S, but Maiden Vigilance was probably my favourite boss of that. Yeah, she was my favourite boss of that entire raid. The fact that you had a ring, and normally you have to worry about falling out off the sides on the outside, but this time you had to. Oh my god! Thinking about it, I'm thinking about the mechanics that we used to do. So you had to worry about falling off on the middle, but then sometimes you had to actually jump into the middle. But then if you timed it wrong, you'd see your friends just fall all the way to the bottom, and then their skeleton after you killed the boss, their skeleton would come up on the elevator. No, I love that. She's definitely going in. She's definitely going in A. High Tink and Mecha Talk. Now. The shrunken mechanic, where you get shrunk, and you can still play this now, was interesting. It was nice to actually fight a gnome for once. Maybe it was in his mecha suit, and the fact that we nearly killed him. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in C. I don't think he's a D. I don't think he's a filler, but he was definitely a C. Mother. Now, Mother I liked, but did I like her as much as Maiden of Vigilance? I'm going to put her in B. Oh, no, that's High Botanist. Oh, shit. Now oh, bollocks. What have I done? High Botanist was in C, right? Yeah. Mother is definitely B. The mechanics were really, really good. I don't think she's just hitting that A tier yet, but she was really, really good. Mithrax. Mithrax was the one where the second to last boss in Uldir, and the room was split up into two, and you had to absorb the orbs. But I remember getting shouted at so many times, like, don't stand in the orbs. Yeah, but my sanity's going to, go. I'm going to be, I think he got mind controlled. I'm actually going to put him in D. He's not that memorable. I didn't like him. Nithendra. She is the keeper of the Emerald Dream. She was the very first boss in Legion, or the very first raid boss in Legion. And because of that, and because I liked her model at the time, I'm going to put her in C. She would have been D, but because she was the first boss I got back into raiding after I stopped playing in Mists of Pandaria, it's going to be a C. Odin. Odin. I didn't like Odin. The amount of times he challenged us, I'm going to put him in F. I really didn't like Odin. Opulence. Opulence is my favourite boss ever. I mean, I'm even going to put him in front of him. I loved Opulence. The fact that you were fighting this elemental of gold, and you split down, and you felt like you were some sort of spy with the lasers and stuff, and poisons, and it was just an amazing mechanical fight. And at the end, where you had to pick a gem, I think it was a really, really well done fight. And if they did a fight like that again, I'd definitely play it. King Rastakhan. I'm thinking S, but he's probably going to go in A. I really like that fight. I like the fact that you had two realms again, and you were fighting Born Samdi and Rastakhan. I didn't like how it ended, obviously, but it was a good fight. I really enjoyed that one. Erendeth, isn't this the spider in the Emerald Nightmare? I'm probably going to put her in. Am I thinking D or F? No, I'm going to say she's D. She wasn't that bad, but she was, again, just a filler. Sisters of the Moon, this was a 3-boss fight with 3 different things. This is where you had, what was it? There was a loon was on the floor, and if you stood in the dark for too long, you got a debuff, and you stood in the light for too long, you got a debuff, and you had to keep it balanced. I really like this fight. I'm actually going to probably put this in a... Oh, is it good enough to go in B or C? I'm going to put this in B. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I really liked Sisters of the Moon. Scorpion. Again, a filler. Very first fight of the Emerald at the Nighthold. Didn't really enjoy him. He was a one-shot, really easy. Spellblade. I would put her as a D because she's a filler, but I'm going to actually put her as a C. I like the fact that she did the fire and the frost thing. You had to work together so you didn't get too many. Mistress Salathri, if I remember her name correctly, because I can't see it. She was the Naga with the from the depth. What was it? Shark, whale thing. I kind of like this fight. Do I think she was a filler? No, I think she was better than a filler. I'm going to put her in C because I think she was a little bit better. Talok. Talok on the elevator. I really like Talok, and if you watch a video that I'm going to do in the next couple of days, you'll find out that Talok was a really fun fight for me because I pulled him by accident on the first boss, on the first time I did him. So I'm going to put him in B. I thought he was really, really good. I like the elevator, and on Mythic where you have to dodge the beams and everything. I think it was really good. Tichondrous. I remember doing Tichondrous so many times for the Shackled Elements shoulders from the Nighthold. Unfortunately, his lore was so much better. Is he dead? Is he technically dead? Because we didn't kill him in the Nether, did we? I still think he was a filler. But if I find out, if I find out he's not dead, I'm going to put him in C. Trilliax. Trilliax, definitely a B. Trilliax is an A, actually. I really like Trilliax. It was a funny fight where we were saying about, Master, how did you crawl out of your grave? It must have been hard because I had your hands in a jar or something like that. And the beam as well. It was a pretty simple fight, but it was just a great fight. I think some fights, if they're done simple, can be really good. Ursok. Ursok, unfortunately, again, a filler, so I'm going to put him in D there. Uthnat. F, because I really didn't like him in the Crucible of Storms. Varian Mathras, he was just a DPS, so unfortunately, I'm going to put him in D, like a great character, but I'm going to put him in D. Vectus. Vectus. Vestus was fun. It was very red. I like the blood where you had to soak and the debuff that you had to split up into different groups because if you had the debuff, it was spread. No, I actually like Vector, so I'm going to put him in Z. Xavius, now, Xavius I think was done poorly. He's a last boss, so I'd feel bad by putting him in D, but I'm going to. I didn't like Xavius really. The Herald of N'Zoth, that's again Crucible of the Storms, isn't it? So, oh, no, Zekvos. Zekvos was in Uldir, sorry. Zekvos was a really good fight. I've forgotten all about it. This was the one where he kind of escaped his prison in Uldir. Yeah, he's going to go in C. He's not a D. He's amazing. And Zul Reborn. Zul Reborn. I wiped so many times to him. I spent an entire day, I mean, literally, I got up at like 8 in the morning, then didn't go to bed at 10 at night, fighting him on Heroic. Was he a good fight? He wasn't a filler, but he wasn't a B, so he's going to go in C. So, that's it. So let's take a look quickly. So my top 2 fights are Il'gynoth and Opulence. Perfect. And my bottom fights are the Restless. So that's pretty much it. This has actually been quite fun. It's been a really long video to do, actually, like 30 minutes. So apologies for that, but I've really enjoyed this. I may do some more of these because I've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. So like I said, this was just a filler just to do some videos before I get on to a nice video about what I think of Battle for Azeroth. So thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, remember to hit that subscribe button, and if you think I'm wrong here, let me know in the comments below, because there are some that I'm not very sure on, so you may be able to help me out there. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.